Also rise to speak on the bill that amends the Payroll Tax Act 2009, and are very excited by this bill and the opportunity it gives to businesses across South Australia, and particularly those in Finniss. The payroll tax has been a very negative tax towards employment, and I've seen that first-hand in Finniss in the past. I've had some very close colleagues of mine in the dairy industry affected by this personally, where they decided that they wanted to grow their business and bought a third dairy farm, and all of a sudden that required another 4 staff that were previously in another business, were now in their business, that took their whole business over a threshold. That wasn't something that they were actually anticipating in the process, and this occurred back in about 2009, and at the time the dairy industry was going through a very tough period, and to have a penalty on employment hit them like it did was certainly something that they weren't expecting, and certainly put enormous pressure on their business, and actually led to them laying a staff member off to actually try and manage the cost to their business. So I think this is a great thing that government's putting in place by bringing this bill forward. So I think to see increasing to $1.5 million rather than the $600,000 that the tax-free threshold has been at is certainly going to make a big difference to businesses. We're seeing a huge change in what that's going to do. So we're talking probably 10 to 12 employees who currently have been hitting that threshold, so we're effectively going up over 20, 25 employees at reasonably low wage rates as well. We're not talking about higher salaries being paid to people to get you over that level, at that number. So these are small businesses, and they're often businesses that are very much service businesses, putting a lot of things into the economy and delivering for the community. So I think it's something that we certainly need to encourage. I also think it's a great initiative that we're also looking at having the phase-in between $1.5 million and $1.7 million that will allow people to transition as they reach that limit. I think that will also allow the businesses to grow rather than hitting that threshold suddenly and being impacted. One of the interesting things that I've had in the last couple of days, I was actually had an opportunity to meet with a group of businesses in Victor Harbor last night at the Business Victor Harbor forum that they held last night at one of the real estate agents' properties, where they have annual meetings where they get together and network, etc. And this was one of the things that was very much discussed in the room last night. And it's intriguing how many businesses fit into this category. The real estate agents themselves, under their structure of having 4 or 5 offices spread across the Flurio, most of them in Finniss, but some over in Normanville outside the electorate, they were also going to benefit by this payroll tax change. But probably the most pleasing was when I was talking to one of the local builders, and he's certainly a big employer, but he's very much local. He's based his business on the south coast, but a big employer, and his instant reaction was, that will allow me to employ 1 more person. So he was seeing the immediate benefit that he could actually put another staff member on just by the savings of not having the payroll tax up to that $1.5 million. And I'm sure that business is hitting that threshold, so he will be in that sort of range. So I think that's fantastic that we're actually able to see that benefit to our community. I guess the interesting thing is how many businesses are affected, and when you look at it across the south coast, we estimate there's probably about 100 businesses that are actually right smack bang in this category. And if only half of them decide to do what the building company said they're going to do, we're going to see 50 new jobs just created just like that out of this. So I think that's a fantastic outcome, and those people are actually going to feed that money back into the system, and it will flow round, and we'll see the benefits to the whole community, not just those businesses and people that are employed. So it's very much was something that the Business Victor Harbour Group were very pleased to be hearing about, and I think that's a great outcome. Small businesses are certainly very much the backbone of our regional economies. Down along the south coast and through Finniss, there are not many what you'd describe large businesses, if any. We have a few medium-sized businesses, but small business is what drives our economy down there. We certainly have many retailers, we have many builders and tradespeople. All these people are going to benefit from this sort of change in the legislation. So I think it's a fantastic outcome for us to go there. To see a large a part of your income from the income coming into a business just being charged a tax for employing people is certainly a very negative sort of tax. It does actually stop companies wanting to actually take that next step and employ and get themselves into that threshold of having to pay. So I certainly think it's a great thing, and I think the opportunity to save up to $44,550 per annum is certainly a great benefit to industry, and encourages us to see great investment in our community. With this, I feel that the community is gaining in confidence, and not just around this change, but generally. So the business community, the small business community, are certainly seeing a change in attitude and how they're operating. And the vibrant feel around the meeting last night in that small business community was a pleasure to be part of. To see the confidence going forward that they see opportunities, etc., for their business is fantastic. So I think these sorts of changes we're making, removing that red tape, removing that cost of business, allowing those businesses to operate in an effective and vibrant way, I think that we're giving an opportunity to see great growth in this state over the next few years. So I'd like to commend this bill to the House, and very pleased to see these changes. Thank you.
Member for High